You know that feeling? The afternoon slump hits you like a ton of bricks. Or maybe you get that second wind, that burst of energy late at night. Well, what if I told you that's not random at all? It's all part of this incredible hidden system inside of you. We're going to dive deep into the science of your body's own internal clock. So, are you a morning person? You know, the type who leaps out of bed ready to go at dawn? Or are you a night owl who does their best work when everyone else is asleep? It really feels like just a personal preference, right? But it's so much more than that. It's actually a complex biological program that's running 24/7 inside every single one of us. That's right, the answer is literally hardwired into your cells. In this explainer, we are going to pull back the curtain and decode this incredible biological program. Okay, so what is this body clock we keep talking about? Let's start with its proper scientific name. This is your circadian rhythm, and the name itself is a fantastic clue. It comes from the Latin words circa, for around, and diem, for day, so around a day. Just think of it as your body's internal master schedule, a process that cycles roughly every 24 hours, helping you anticipate and get ready for the daily shift from light to dark. What makes this internal clock just so amazing is how unbelievably robust it is. First off, it's endogenous. That just means it runs from the inside out. Seriously, you could be in a pitch black cave for days on end and it would just keep on ticking. It also free runs at its own pace, which for most of us is actually a little longer than 24 hours, closer to 24.2. And maybe the most incredible part, it's temperature compensated. Your clock's timing doesn't speed up if you have a fever or slow down if you're out in the cold. It is an absolutely stable piece of biological machinery. Okay, so if almost every cell has its own little clock, what stops it from becoming total chaos? There has to be a master conductor for this whole biological orchestra, right? Well, it turns out there is. The headquarters for this whole operation is a teeny tiny region in your brain's hypothalamus. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or just the SCN. This is the master clock, the central command that dictates the timing for your entire body. And get this, the SCN is made up of only about 20,000 neurons. Now, in a brain that has billions of them, that's an unbelievably small team. But these few neurons work in perfect harmony to generate the one single, coherent, 24-hour signal that the rest of your body dutifully follows. The SCN's real superpower is all about teamwork. You see, a single SCN neuron on its own isn't a perfect timekeeper, but through constant chatter and synchronization with all its neighbors, the network as a whole creates this incredibly precise and stable rhythm, which it then broadcasts out to the entire body. All right, so we know where the master clock is, but how in the world does it actually work? I mean, how do those 20,000 cells know what time it is? For that, we've got to zoom in, way, way in. The answer is in something scientists call the transcription-translation feedback loop. I know, it sounds super complicated, but at its core, it's just this incredibly elegant, beautiful molecular cycle that just repeats itself over and over every single day inside your cells. The best way to picture this is to think of a molecular light switch. You've got a pair of proteins, conveniently named clock and BMAL1, and they act as the on switch. They latch onto your DNA and activate specific timekeeping genes. Now, when these genes get turned on, they start producing two other proteins called purr and cry, and you guessed it, purr and cry, they're the off switch. So here's how that whole cycle plays out over 24 hours. In the morning, clock and BMAL1 are active, flipping those genes on. As the day goes on, those off-switch proteins, purr and cry, start to build up. They accumulate in the cell. By evening, there are finally enough of them to march back and block the clock/BMAL1 switch, turning the genes off. Then, overnight, those purr and cry proteins get cleared out, which allows the clock/BMAL switch to flip back on the next morning, starting the whole beautiful cycle all over again. It's just an ingenious, self-regulating loop. Okay, let's zoom back out, because this amazing molecular cycle isn't just happening in the SCN. Nope, it's happening almost everywhere, and it all has to stay synchronized with the outside world. This is one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in this field. It's not just your brain. Almost every single organ in your body, your liver, your heart, your lungs, even your muscles, has its own internal clock, running that exact same molecular cycle. But they're not just doing their own thing. They all take their marching orders from the SCN, the master conductor. making sure the entire orchestra is playing in perfect time. Now, remember how we said our internal clock naturally runs a bit longer than 24 hours? So, how does it stay locked in with the actual day-night cycle of the planet? Well, it uses external cues called Zeitgebers, which is this fantastic German word that literally means time givers. The most powerful Zeitgeber, the big boss, by far is light. Information about light travels directly from your eyes to the SEN master clock, basically yelling, hey, it's daytime, time to reset. But other things, like when you eat your meals, when you exercise, and even hormones like melatonin and cortisol, they all act as secondary time givers, helping to fine-tune all the different clocks in your different organs. It's an elegant and precise system for sure. But our modern world, with its endless artificial lights and crazy schedules, makes it incredibly easy to mess it all up. So what happens when our internal clock goes completely haywire? When you have a mismatch between your internal clock and your external life, think jet lag or shift work, you get something called circadian misalignment. And let me tell you, the consequences go way beyond just feeling tired and a little bit groggy. The physical toll is immediate and it is measurable. We're talking hard data. Studies show that just a few days of being out of sync can increase your average 24-hour systolic blood pressure by about 3 points. Now, that might not sound like a huge number, but that's a significant real-world stress on your cardiovascular system. And at the very same time, this misalignment can cause a major spike in the inflammatory markers floating around in your blood, in some cases up by nearly 30%. And this kind of low-grade chronic inflammation is a known driver for all sorts of diseases. So when this misalignment becomes a chronic thing, like it is for millions of shift workers, the long-term health risks are really severe. We see strong links to a higher risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, depression, and even certain types of cancer. This makes it crystal clear. Keeping our internal clocks happy isn't a luxury. It's absolutely fundamental to our health. But the good news is, you have so much power to support your internal clock. It's all about reinforcing those Zeitgebers, those time givers. The most powerful tool in your toolbox, getting bright light exposure in the morning. It's like a shot of espresso for your master clock. Beyond that, try to keep your meal times, your exercise, and especially your sleep and wake schedules as consistent as possible. Yes, even on weekends. That consistency sends a clear, powerful, stabilizing signal to every single clock in your body. This elegant, ancient system is running inside you this very second, a silent conductor trying to keep your entire body in perfect harmony with the world around you. So the only question left is, are you living in sync with it? Thanks so much for joining this deep dive into your amazing body clock.